This video is about using polynomial long division. Let's start by reviewing regular long division. We have the problem 89 divided by 7, which we know does not go in evenly, so we're going to get a remainder here. 89, which is our dividend, is going to go inside the little house. That's the division symbol. And we put the 7 outside. We only take it one digit at a time here. We ask ourselves, how many times does 7 go into 8? Well, 7 goes into 8 one whole time. That goes up where our answer shows up. And we do 1 times 7, which is 7, and subtract it from the 8 to get our remainder, which is 1. Bring down the 9, and repeat the same process. Ask yourself, how many times does 7 go into 19? Well, 7 goes into 19 2 whole times. And then we do the same thing. 2 times 7 is 14. And subtract it to get our remainder. 19 minus 14 is 5. There's nothing left to bring down from the original dividend. So that's how we know we're done. All we have to do is write our final answer correctly. So 89 divided by 7 equals our answer, which is 12. And then our remainder, we're going to write as a fraction. The remainder is going to be 5, which comes from down at the bottom of our problem, over 7, which is our divisor. And it's always going to be your remainder over your divisor. 12 and 5/7 is the answer to this division problem. Polynomial long division, the same process, just a bit longer. So we're dividing here this polynomial f of x by x minus 2. So our long polynomial, x to the third plus 5x squared minus 7x plus 2, is going to go in the little house, and the x minus 2 is going to go outside. I'm going to leave myself a little room over here to show additional work. All right, one step at a time. Take your first term from the inside, divide it by your first term on the outside. X to the third divided by x. Or x to the third, take out an x, and you'll be left with just x squared. Right? That goes on the answer line. Notice I lined it up over the other x squared just to stay organized. Okay, the next step when you have something in your answer line is to multiply it by your divisor to get a remainder. So we'll take that x squared, I'm going to write this on the sidebar over here, and multiply it by the entire divisor, x minus 2. Multiply this by distributing. X squared times x is x to the third. X squared times minus 2 is minus 2x squared. Take this entire expression and bring it over here to subtract. I'm going to put it in parentheses with a subtraction sign in front so I remember to subtract both pieces. X to the third minus x to the third cancels out. It always will if you do it correctly. And then we have 5x squared minus a negative 2x squared, which is like adding 2x squared. So 5x squared plus 2x squared is 7x squared. And we bring down our remaining terms, minus 7x and plus 2. Then we start the process again with only the first term. We have a new first term, that's 7x squared, and we are dividing it by the same first term from the outside, which is x. 7x squared divided by x will leave us with only 7x. Positive 7x goes in our answer line, and then we take that and multiply it by the divisor. So 7x times the divisor, which is x minus 2. And we distribute 7x times x, 7x squared. 7x times minus 2 is minus 14x. We take this whole expression, put it over here, and remember to put it in parentheses and subtract it. So you remember all the signs will change. 7x squared minus 7x squared should cancel out if you do it correctly. And then we have a negative 7x, and we are subtracting a negative 14x, which is like adding 14x. So negative 7x plus 14x is positive 7x, and then we bring down this plus 2. 1, do the same process again. First term is now just 7x, and we are taking out an x from that, which will leave us with only a plus 7. That's going to go in our answer line. And then we take that 7 and distribute it by the divisor. So 7 times x minus 2. You'll notice the divisor here, here, and here has been the same every time, right? We're just distributing it by x minus 2. So 7 times x is 7x. 7 times minus 2 is minus 14. We take this expression, write it underneath, and remember to put it in parentheses and subtract it. 7x minus 7x cancels out. Positive 2 minus a negative 14 is like adding 14. So 2 plus 14 is 16. And there's nothing left to break down from the original dividend. That's how we know we're done with this problem. All we have to do is write our final answer correctly. The answer to this division problem, I'll write it up here in the top right corner. The answer appears at the top of our division box up here. X squared plus 7x plus 7. And our remainder will be written as a fraction again. It's going to be the remainder, which was 16 down here at the bottom, over the divisor, which is x minus 2. That's been the divisor the whole time. Because the 16 is positive, we write our remainder as a plus 16. If it had been negative, we'd write it as minus 16 over x minus 2, which was our divisor. This whole expression is the answer to our division problem. Let's try one last one here. This one's a bit longer, and it has a small trick to it at the beginning. Notice in this polynomial, we're starting with 3x to the 4th and going down, but it skips over a term that needs to be right here. That's the x squared term. It's missing. So in between the x to the 3rd term and the regular x term, we need to fill in a 0x squared term when we write the division problem down. So let's put our dividend, 3x to the 4th minus 5x to the 3rd, plus 0x squared plus 4x minus 6 in the little house. And this time we have a bit longer of a divisor here. It's going to be x squared minus 3x plus 5. Again, I'm going to leave myself a little sidebar to show the distributing step. Okay, it looks complicated, but remember we're only taking it one step at a time here. Our first term is a 3x to the 4th, and we are taking out an x squared from that, which will leave us with 3x squared. I'm going to line that up over my other x squared in this problem to stay organized. Anytime you put something in the answer line, the next step is to multiply it by the divisor. So 3x squared is getting multiplied by x squared minus 3x plus 5. Always gets multiplied by the whole divisor, which doesn't change throughout the entire problem. We distribute 3x squared times x squared is 3x to the 4th. 3x squared times minus 3x is minus 9x to the 3rd. And 3x squared minus 5 is plus 15x squared. This whole expression comes over here. And remember to put it in parentheses and subtract it. Each one of those signs is going to change. 3x to the 4th minus 3x to the 4th should cancel out if you do it correctly. And then we have this minus 5x to the 3rd minus a negative 9x to the 3rd, which is like adding 9x to the 3rd. So this will become positive 4x to the 3rd. We have a 0x squared minus a 15x squared, which is going to be negative 15x squared. And then we bring down our remaining terms, the 4x and the minus 6. We have our new polynomial, and we start the whole process again. Just the first term, 4x to the 3rd. We are taking out still an x squared, which will leave us with just 4x. That goes in our answer line. Anytime something's in the answer line, the next step is to multiply it by the divisor. So we take that positive 4x, and we distribute it by the entire divisor again. 4x times x squared is 4x to the third. 4x times minus 3x is minus 12x squared. 4x times 5 is plus 20x. Take this entire expression, write it underneath. Don't forget to put it in parentheses and subtract it. All of those signs will change. 4x to the third minus 4x to the third should cancel out. Negative 15x squared minus negative 12x squared is like adding 12x squared. So we'll have negative 3x squared. 4x minus 20x, negative 16x. And then we bring down our minus 6. This is going to be our last step here. Our first term, our new first term, is negative 3x squared, and we are taking out still the x squared from out front. If you have a negative 3x squared and you take out an x squared, all you'll be left with is minus 3. That goes on our answer line. Anytime there's something on our answer line, the next step is to multiply it by the divisor. Negative 3 times the entire divisor. Distribute. Negative 3 times x squared is negative 3x squared. Negative 3 times negative 3x, positive 9x. And negative 3 times 5 is minus 15. Take this entire expression, write it underneath. Don't forget to put this in parentheses, subtract it. Each one of those signs will change. So this becomes negative 3x squared plus 3x squared, which should cancel out. Negative 16x minus 9x will end up as negative 25x. And then we have a negative 6, and we are subtracting a negative 15, which is like adding. So negative 6 plus 15 is positive 9. There's nothing left to bring down from the original dividend. That's how we know we're done. All we have to do is write our final answer. I don't have much room, but I'm still going to put it up here in the upper corner. The answer is the polynomial that you have written at the top of your box, 3x squared plus 4x minus 3. And then our remainder we write as a fraction. This fraction is going to be a bit long and ugly, but it's correct. The fraction is our remainder, negative 25x plus 9, so minus 25x plus 9, over the original divisor, which hasn't changed the whole problem. It's been x squared minus 3x plus 5. And this whole expression is the answer to our division problem.